Okay, this is my pond, and I'm updating the information on the filter. I've been struggling with it a bit, but we moved it back down after it floated up in a rain. I decided to clean the barrels the first 2 weeks after a huge rain and the water table was up, and that doesn't work very well because I drained them all, and then they turned into canoes and they floated up and they never went back down in place. So I've been a little frustrated, although it's kept my North Carolina pond really pretty clear even through the heat, so I can't really complain. But I put in these 3-inch bottom drains that are welling up, and they should allow 7,000 gallons an hour gravity feed. Probably lose a little bit going up, and I wasn't probably doing more than 3,000 gallons an hour, and this is an 18,000 gallon pond. So I wanted to see if my system would really work to its fullest. So yesterday we dug this bad boy out, and it was just a little bit of a task. Set all the barrels down, and now the water, even though it's dropped 2 inches from its height, it's not daylighting, so there's enough gravity weight, I guess, pushing 7,000 gallons an hour, because that's a 7,200 gallon an hour pump down there, and I'm probably got it pretty wide open. So anyway, this is my system. The first stage is the major settlement, which I do get a ton of leaves. Second stage is fine settlement, and the third stage is my boiling settlement, or boiling air, which I guess it's a leap of faith. I see it on YouTube all the time. It's a little bit of a leap of faith whether it does anything, because if I shut it off, guess what? That's another settlement chamber. But we're going to go ahead and try to use it to get the nitrates out, and I'll try to figure out with some studies whether or not it does what it's supposed to do. There's we had to take out all this K1 yesterday, and there is a 36 gallon construction waste barrel of K1 in each one of these, which is more than we thought and heavier than we thought, but a shop vac got it all out. So that's my system. I have 2 bottom drains coming in to the first barrel. Then I went with uniseals, 3-inch uniseals, a 4-inch pipe, and I cut it on my chop saw, and that seemed to keep the K1 out and be a good and be enough open surface area to let enough water through. And then I come through and I drop down the first barrel on both sides, because I need 7,000 gallons an hour gravity, and I drop through the next one on both sides, and then I come out on both sides, and then down into my pump, up into an ever-increasing UV filter, and then out into a system of hoses and things. I've wrung the pond with I dropped down some 18-inch rods, and I'm pushing water out at angles to kind of spin the water like a pool, and I probably have 12 of those all the way around the pond off of 2 different pumps, but I got a little pump on the other side running fountains. Well, I live in North Carolina, and this is not California like the one I built out there, and boy, we have some heat and it doesn't dissipate, and I kept it, you know, pretty clean. I'm hoping that this will this new adjustment down a little bit, 2-3 inches on these barrels, will help me out a bunch. You know, I'm down to, in the winter time, clean once a month, and in the summertime clean once every 2 weeks, and really having a pretty good, you know, it's really 15-20 minutes and I'm all done. I can probably improve upon that if I if I move those air hoses onto this side, and then I put some extra air. I need 2 to boil this. I thought I only needed 1, but I really need 1 on each side of that pipe, so I really need 2 more permanent air stones at the bottom of this other one, so I don't have to move them over. And those are all little improvements. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I want to get it down to a 10-minute cleaning, and that's kind of a 10-minute cleaning that you don't have to be, you know, too mechanically inclined. So I think that's the goal. You know, I developed this system off of a couple of different systems, you know, for hydroponics and different people on the web, and it does this morning, other than I cleaned the stuff and kicked a little bit of dirt up into the pond. I mean, my pond is, I like to keep it like bathtub gin. You know, if you're gonna have a pond, it should be clean. So otherwise it just frustrates the daylights out of you. Anyway, so that's what we've got. You know, I built that patio over there, and then a couple of spillways to get a little height. I don't really have a fountain other than this one coming out of my pond. I didn't really want an artificial waterfall because I had no height in my yard. But so that's it. Invisible stairs, pour some concrete after I had the membrane in, or invisible walk, you know, so you can't really see the bases. They're painted black, and I don't know, you know, it seems to be working pretty good. This was a big project yesterday. You know, been sitting for a year and a half knowing it wasn't working to capacity like the first time I designed it. So getting in there, pulling it out, nervous one of the seals was going to bust or something was going to leak, and you know, and then getting it all put back together and put it dug down and put back in was, you know, 3-4 hours, and it was touch and go the whole way, but we got it back in, and it's all up and running like it should have been the first day. But I went and drained it after a big rainstorm. As you can see, I moved my air up to about the level the water gets around here in North Carolina after a big washer. I mean, it really gets about above those pipes. So that air was on the floor, on the dirt down there, and that got burned out. And anyway, so, but I think we're back in business. We've got a few more upgrades to make it a little bit simpler to clean. Maybe strap some of this stuff to the wall a little bit better. I've got a switch which helps out a lot. I've got a switch little electrical suppressor there with, you know, I'd probably get a little nicer one, but it seems to work pretty well, and that helps out a lot with not having to unplug and replug, and they're all black wires, and so you can just press a button. So looks like my pond's almost filled up to the brick again, so I'm going to shut off the water. This will drain, when I flush these, it'll drain at about 2 inches overall. My fish are getting pretty big. I have probably 30, I think probably by now, I got 30 pounds of koi. You know, I ordered 8 nice koi online, butterfly koi, and they're very nice out of Amazon, but they sent me regular koi. And then instead of, you know, I don't know how to send that stuff back in the mail. I don't know how they sent it to me in the mail. Instead of, you know, wanting those koi back, they sent me 8 more butterfly koi. And so, nah, that was, that upgraded me to, you know, 16. I got some other big ones. I got to cull the herd of some of the least desirable ones, but I don't know. My daughter wants me to keep them all. We got this big guy. We got the other big guy. He's more, I don't know what he is. He's a little bit more carp than, but there's a couple nice ones in there. And then the smaller ones are going to be, you know, the butterfly ones are eventually going to be something. But it's pretty clear today. It'll get a little bit more clear in another day because I just flushed the system. But I don't know. I've pulled a rock out of that 3-inch bottom drain. I mean, like, it was a couple inches up. It was a piece of probably 3 or 4 inch by 2 or 3 inch piece of bluestone, and it had gone up there. Not just sat up there. It wasn't an accident. It had got pulled up in there a little bit. I don't know how, but when I flush it, sometimes I'll just flush one at a time, and it really generates a lot of pressure. So that's it. I know that this was a little bit bigger than what I was intending, a little bit, but I think we've got it now, and it's nice. Kids like it. But I wanted to give my parents a look at the updated filtration system since I lowered it a little bit. I got a lot of good. I mean, you can learn a lot by just watch a lot of videos on the internet, and I learned a lot. There's Pond Digger has a bunch of videos, and then there's a guy from England. He does a bunch of filtration systems, and he's kind of been experimenting, and those things eventually you kind of figure out what to do. So we'll see. In a couple days this ought to be bathtub gin clear, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, that's it. Enjoy.